Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tigela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about the Senzo Meyiwa case and the shocking things that happen inside that courtroom of Judge Ratha. And guess what? He acts as if nothing is happening, nothing is wrong, nothing is shocking. There is a lot that is going on here. Huh? So yesterday in court, Moses Sibiya told us a lot of things. Moses Sibiya dropped a bombshell that left the entire courtroom questioning the state's evidence because what the hell? Even the entire South Africans that were watching, or even people outside of South Africa that were watching, we were like, what the F is this now? He told the courts he didn't even have a Capitec account in 2007. Yet, prosecutor George Baloyi kept pushing bank statements from that exact year. The question is, how can you be cross-examined on something that didn't even exist? Let's just unpack what this means for the trial of Senzo Meyiwa, for Baloyi, and for Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng. Let's talk about that because one. First of all, what happened in court? Hey, that was shocking, guys. During cross-examination, Baloyi read from the evidence that he had in his hand, insisting that since Moses Sibiya admitted to having a Capitec account, he must answer questions about it, even though Sibiya clearly said that he didn't have an account at Capitec Bank in 2007. Problem much? The dates didn't line up. That's the problem. The account Baloyi is referring to doesn't match the timeline, and Sibiya maintains that those records have nothing to do with him. So why is the prosecution still relying on them? That's a mystery. The second thing is that what this means for Baloyi as a prosecutor, because wow. Sanalam, I don't know. This isn't just a small mix-up. It speaks volumes and about how the state is handling the evidence that is using in that courtroom by insisting on using those bank statements. Baloyi risks misleading the court. It shows a possible attempt to corner accused, number one, Moses Sibiya, with irrelevant and or unverified information. A good prosecutor seeks the truth, not just a conviction, but Baloyi's approach here looks like pressure tactics rather than fair questioning. That's what he is doing. And remember, misleading the court with wrong or unverified evidence can destroy a prosecutor's credibility. I think Baloyi at this point, he doesn't care. Because here we are, we talk about it, we are watching, and he doesn't care. And what's even worse, what does this mean about Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng? What even more concerning is that Judge Ratha Mokgoatlheng allowed this line of questioning to continue. That for me was very questionable. Normally, a presiding judge should step in when the state present evidence that doesn't make sense or clearly doesn't match the facts. But in this case, the judge let Baloyi continue raising serious questions about judicial impartiality. In the court being fair, I don't know what this means. Is the court being fair in this instance for both sides, or is it giving the state too much freedom to push questionable evidence? What's going on, guys? The bigger picture, the fourth thing that I was like, there's always been this question, the bigger picture, fairness on trial. This case isn't just about who pulled the trigger, it's also about how justice is being done. If prosecutors can use outdated or false bank statement, what else might be unreliable in this investigation? Moses Sibiya's team can easily use this moment to argue unfair trial or fabricated evidence. And that's a powerful ammunition for any appeal down the line. One wrong bank statement can reveal a whole pattern of carelessness or worse, manipulation, which is exactly what it feels like on the Senzo Meyiwa case. Ne? That's how everything feels like. What we saw in court yesterday wasn't just a battle between Baloyi and Sibiya. It was a battle between truth and tactics. The moment you allow wrong evidence into the record, the trial loses balance. And justice, as they say, must not only be done, it must be seen to be done. And what I don't understand, I think the biggest problem is the judge, more than what Baloyi is doing so wrong. The biggest problem is Judge Rata. That is our biggest problem in that courtroom is Judge Rata, because tell me why. Why is Judge Rata going to allow this? Because if I can have that sharp observation about the entire situation, and which raises the three separate concerns and connected issues in the Senzo Meyiwa trial, that means there's a lot of people who saw that, especially when the defense lawyer, Advocate Nisi, stood up and said, Oga, let's not go that road. Firstly, the credibility of the evidence is so much questionable at this point. Secondly, the conduct of the prosecutor, Advocate Baloyi. The conduct of the prosecutor's Advocate Baloyi. At this point, I'm trying to understand NPA, who allows such things to happen on their name? Thirdly, the role and judgment of the presiding judge, which is Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng. Why is this even happening? Why are they even allowing such things to happen in that courtroom, guys? Moses Sibiya's statement about not having a Capitec account in 2007 is a big deal. It matters. If Sibiya tells the court that he didn't have a Capitec account in 2007, but the state, through Baloyi, still pushed questions based on those statements, there is a problem of factual foundation in that situation. Capitec Bank was only founded in 2001, but its mass adoption and systems allowed wide account openings came bit later, around mid-2000s. So if the state's bank statement, their bank statement dates don't align with the existence or accessibility of that account, it undermines the authenticity or relevance of that evidence. But Baloyi is refusing to see that, guys. Baloyi is refusing to see that or see it for what it is. According to him, it's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there. So if the prosecutor insists Sibiya must answer questions about a bank account that may not have existed at the time allegedly opened, it risks misleading the court and compromising fairness. And seemingly, Judge Rata, the presiding officer, doesn't care. And about Baloyi's conduct, it's very questionable. It's been questionable throughout the entire trial of Senzo Meyiwa murder. Baloyi is persistent in reading or using those bank records despite clear contradictions. It says a few things about him. It suggests overreach or pressure tactics when the evidence's timeline doesn't make sense. It shows that Baloyi might be using assumptions rather than verified evidence, which is not good prosecutorial practice. A fair prosecutor's job is not only to secure convictions, but to uphold integrity of the evidence and ensure justice is done fairly. If he continues pushing irrelevant or misleading evidence, it might be interpreted as badgering or abuse of cross-examination. It seems as if he doesn't care, though. It seems as if Baloyi doesn't care about those matters. It's even worse about Judge Rata Mokgoatlheng allowing the entire situation. I don't know what it means about him, but I have a few things to say. This part of him allowing Baloyi to continue or not even questioning what is going on is very crucial. Judges have a duty to protect the integrity of proceedings and ensure fairness, especially in criminal cases where the accused's liberty is at stake. It's his duty. If Judge Ratha Mokgoatleng allows Baloyi to continue with such bank records without verifying their irrelevance or date accuracy, it could mean a few things. He is giving excessive leeway to the prosecution, raising questions about judicial impartiality. It could suggest that he is not scrutinizing the evidence properly or ignoring the defense objections about misleading material. It also reinforces the ongoing perception seen throughout the trial, that the court appears more sympathetic to the state's case than to procedural fairness, which is exactly how Judge Ratha has been handling the entire situation. Guys, everything is shocking in that courtroom. I tell you, everything is shocking in that courtroom. Because this evidence that Baloyi is busy with, it weakens the credibility of the state case, especially if other evidence shows similar inconsistencies, which is exactly what is happening when it comes to the state case. It strengthens the defense's narrative that the trial is unfair or that the prosecutor is relying on manufactured or unreliable evidence. If proven later that the bank statement was inadmissible or misleading, it can become grounds for appeal, even if there is a conviction. Because wow, son. Anyway, guys, that's how I feel about the entire case. I'm feeling wow, baze baba exposed, guys. Baze baba exposed. Because the moment you allow wrong evidence into record, the trial loses the balance. And in fact, in this one, it doesn't even have a balance. And justice also, as they say, it must not only be done, it must be seen to be done, which is not what is happening in the Senzo Meyiwa case. Guys, all I can say is keep it locked right here on the Noni M podcast, where we unpack the truth behind the headlines, the court sessions at a time. Don't forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, please make sure that you are subscribed. Also, your thoughts below are very important. Do you think Judge Ratha Mokgoatleng should have stopped Baloyi right there on the spot when he was busy with that cross-examination? What are your thoughts? Drop them on the comment section. I will see you on our next video. Enjoy your day. Bye-bye.